All right, so these are my oldest 3 rows. This row here is from Z's. There's 2 types. One they just labeled large, and the other one they just labeled Euro. And then this right here, these 2 rows are Akiva. They were planted the exact same time. I know you're gonna chastise me because I have not mowed or weeded these rows. So this is from Z's. That one is about 2.5, 3 feet tall. And then this is the kind of the better section of Z's, but you can see very, very drought stressed. They are not getting as much water as they would need. I do have them on irrigation, but it's county water, so I pay for it. So I cannot water as much as these plants would need to do well and to make a crop. So when you said they were, or you're gonna harvest in 2 weeks, I was like, holy hell, we could not do that. Like, these would not make a crop in this state. But I'm just hoping that over time they get a little bit more established and they would do better. But these are kind of bush-like, but most of them still have probably 5 to 6 main branches, main stems, and they go up from there. This right here is probably a 5-foot bush. We do rotate cattle through here, not as much as I personally would like. And one benefit is the cows really don't seem too interested in these hazels. You could see they easily could reach over this wire and grab the leaves. And so far, even in this spring rotation, we have had next to no browse of these hazels from the cows. Now, one thing you'll notice is as we go down the line, they get smaller, and I think that's just pressure from the irrigation or from the water. They're not getting as much water as we go down the line. It could be soil difference, or it could be type change, because I think it was Euro was down there, and then what they called large is down here, or vice versa. So there is a type change. So there are several factors that are affecting their state. So you can see here we have some leaves that look good, and then on this side of the plant we got some that are crispy. And so there is some variation. Like this bush right here is still stressed, but not nearly as stressed as some of these others. So, and as we come over here, it kind of thins out a little bit. That's why I'm thinking that these are like they are because they got less water. But then again, you know, we still have some leaves that are doing okay. And then, you know, that one kind of looks like it's dying. But it will probably persist. And then again, you can see on this end, the end of the row, it's real sparse. Probably because irrigation. The pressure is not right. See, these are not doing too good. I need to turn the water on. And then we get a bush like this that is, you know, has its peers on it both sides, kind of dead and dying, real short. But we have this one right here that is doing well in comparison. I'm not going to say it's doing well on a absolute standard. I don't know if it would be able to produce, but from a comparison standpoint, and that's really what we're trying to do, is compare in this region. This bush is a lot smaller, but comparatively speaking, doing better. These are all sourced from a kiva, planted the same year as the Z's that I showed you on first. But as you can see, they're just smaller, shorter. And then we got, you know, that one's a little bushier. That one is dead and dying. Not really dead, but close to dead. Needs water. Extreme stress. We have not had any rain since the end of June. They have gotten some irrigation. Maybe, it's hard to say. 10 to 20 gallons twice a week. But, you know, it's 103 today. 103 to 106 all week is the conditions they're growing under. And like this bush here, I could see this bush maybe having nuts on it by the end of the summer, going into the fall, get our fall rains, and maybe produce a crop by late October, early November in theory. But obviously you've seen some of these that just wouldn't produce a crop. It would all drop off. But you see a couple of them that just, here's one with a little purplish, maybe that's just brown. This kind of look more purplish though. So some of them are relatively doing better than others. And it's just kind of a big mixed bag of how they're doing. I have had male catkins the past 2 years, but they seem to drop off. I think they are not getting what they need to persist. Let me know what you think.